Para naman kay Senador Kiko, Pangilinan ng Liberal Party, dapat maghain ng diplomatic protest si Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano. Dahil dito, suportado raw niya ang panukala ni Senador Bam Aquino na dinggin sa Senado ang foreign policy ng administrasyon. Dapat din daw talakayin ang detalye ng $24 billion na loan at investment ng China sa Pilipinas. Pero tingin ng kritiko ni Duterte na sina Senadora Leila de Lima at Magdalo Representative Gary Alejano, tila ibinenta na raw ng Pangulo ang Pilipinas sa China.
Certain conferences, meetings, events have been taking place not only in our hosting the ASEAN, but also, for example, the bicameral consultative mechanism with China on the dispute in the West Philippine Sea. No? So I will try to answer as much as possible two things: any clarification as to the instructions of the President to us, and number two, the general direction of the DFA. And then the secretaries, undersecretaries, and executive directors can answer specific questions if they can do so, because some of the details will still be either embargoed or confidential while it is in the negotiating phase. No? So without further ado, let me give the floor to you for any questions.
Morning, sir. I'm Ron Calypso of Kyoto News, Japanese Procedures. So I'd just like to get something from you about the pronouncement of the President last Friday evening about Chinese President Xi threatening war if Philippines drills oil in the South Chinese. Can you confirm this, and how do you react to suggestions by Senior Justice Carpio that we take the issue to the United Nations again? Thank you.
Well, as I have committed to the Senate, both the majority and the minority, I've already called the Speaker asking for a courtesy call when I get back. I was trying to call my counterpart, Congresswoman Villarica, to also ask for a courtesy call, and I will also try to see Justice Carpio when I get back. As I said, there are things that there are times when briefings will do good, and I'd like them to know the direction and maybe parts of the strategy, and to the extent that I can reveal with the authority of the President of what has happened in previous negotiations, this will be communicated to them. So I'm confident that after I brief the senators who are asking us to protest, I'm confident that their decision will change, or they will understand the context of the President's pronouncement. As of this point in time, I'm not authorized to reveal what was discussed in the restricted meeting between President Xi Jinping and President Duterte. But this is what I can say. The talks was about how to avoid conflict. The talks was about how to increase mutual trust and mutual respect. So there was no language or even tone that would lead any of the two presidents to believe that there was disrespect for them or their country. It is but natural that when you talk about peace and when you talk about conflict, the word war may come up, may or may not come up. So I'm not confirming nor denying. The President will have his speech before he leaves for Moscow, and your counterparts can ask him there. What I'm saying is that, I'll give you an example, di ba? Pag sinabi kong, pare sapatos ko yan, hindi, akin yan. Pare away tayo yan pagka hindi tayo nagkasundo kung kanino. So, pwedeng interpretation mo, uy, awayin ako ni Alan. Diba? But that wasn't the context. The context is, paano natin pagkasunduan, how do we start the dialogue, So, having said that, peace, international and internal and external, national security and regional stability is part of the core belief and programs of President Duterte. This is his campaign promise. This is his goal as president. So the focus is on avoiding conflict as opposed to war. If you ask me why, that I can answer why I think the president stated those words. Because he was being barraged by comments of what he should do. Dapat may ganitong statement sa ASEAN. Dapat i-file mo to. Dapat ipadala mo yung Navy dito. And he has told us many, many times that he is committed to protecting our territorial integrity. He will protect every single inch of our territory. But trust him on how he will do it, how he will approach it, and the strategy. So, of course, if every day, for more than a week, you have people criticizing or telling him to do something else, he will have to give some kind of response, no? And in my view, it was consistent with his response before, which he said, I do not want to go to war. Not because he's afraid of anyone, but because many people will suffer, not only in that area, but the whole Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and the whole region. So while some people think in terms of months or years, what are we going to do ngayon na chairman tayo, what will we do next year, what will we do next month, the president is already thinking about the next generation. That's why you have the build, and that's why you have the bilateral consultative mechanism. No? This problem was brought before President Cory Aquino and Chairman Deng. But they saw it in their wisdom to postpone any decisions and wait for a wiser generation. I'm hoping we're a wiser generation and we can come up with a solution that will be within our constitution, that will be in accordance with our laws, and that will be able to protect our territorial integrity.
That was DFA Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano holding a press conference live. He spoke of President Duterte's direction and strategy regarding the South China Sea, although he said that he cannot disclose what exactly went on between the talks between
When Secretary Del Rosario was at the helm, many disagreed.
Say is that those talks were basically about how to avoid conflict and to increase mutual trust and respect between the two countries. Secretary Cayetano also is speaking just hours before President Duterte leaves for Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin. We will bring you more updates on these bilateral talks when they become available.
Captain of the ship, which is President Duterte. And the destination is the same. But how he wants to tread those waters are different. So the criticisms are welcome. No? But if it's to the extent of trying to let him change course and that will affect the results, expect him to continue the language that you've heard in the past few days and weeks. So let me stop there. Now, if he gives me authority to speak more on what happened in the meeting, then I will. But I can tell you it was a very frank discussion. The mutual respect could be felt, and the admiration of President Duterte to President Xi and President Xi to President Duterte. In fact, they would not be able to speak that frank with each other if there was no trust being developed. Now, are we saying that we will be naive dahil may trust in them? That's why our negotiators, our ambassador who took the lead, and our executive director, will fight tooth and nail to protect our interests. No? And that's very clear.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Next question, please. Yes.
Secretary Joy Bumatay po from...
Sorry, malayo lang yung mic. Some of the technical help them para marinig. Iurong lang yung mic towards them. Sorry, Joy. You can hold it. Sorry, guys.
Good morning, Sir. Joy Gumatay po from PTV. You've mentioned earlier, sir, that you will prioritize improving the welfare of OFWs. Are we seeing the actualization po of the Department of OFWs this year? Kasi po, the past DFA chief did not agree with this particular proposal, saying that maduduplicate lang nito yung mga OFW agencies currently working on their concerns.
Lahat naman na naging labor chief at TFA chief, mahal ang OFWs. Iba lang ang kanilang approach. So in the Middle East, there was some discussion because may ilang concerns din yung Labor Department about creating a different department. But the President made it very clear that it is a campaign promise. He wants it pursued. So before I left the Senate, I filed a bill creating the Department of Foreign Employment, which is basically for OFWs. No? And even if that is put into place, we will still have the one